She was a lonely and depressed orphan who died from overwork. However, when she met God, he reincarnated her as a sweet young girl with a loving family and overpower abilities. This is Midori, a 27-year-old office worker walking towards home, tired and sleepy. As she opens the door and enters in, she falls to the floor and dies due to overworking. Tears roll down her cheeks as she feels sad that she never had any friends or a family of her own. And as her soul leaves her body, she feels even sadder. Then God appears and says, "If you help me, I can give you a new life." In another world called Azdalan, humans are killing other creatures. I'll reincarnate you in that world so you can decide if humans should be wiped out there. In exchange, I'll grant you a special power. Tell me anything you want. She screams out, "I want to pet fluffy things. Petting fluffy things soothes my exhausted heart." God gets confused, so he grants her special power to be liked by all the creatures other than humans, and then farewells her to another world. In Otherworld, there is a kingdom peaceful and silent, where in a home of Duke, a new baby has just been born. Her mom named her Nefertima, while her sister says, "I will call her Nima." Dad holds the baby on his arms. Nima gives her first cry and thinks, "So I've really been reincarnated in this new world." Now, Nima turned 3. Her brother Ralph gifts her flowers. Her sister Karna makes her a pretty firework with magic. She also has a kind dad and beautiful mom. As Nima runs, she's about to fall, but her dog Dee comes to save her on time. She hugs and pampers Dee and enjoys her time with a lot of animals. She's living her new life happily, all thanks to God who gives her special power to be loved by animals. Next day, Mom tells her she will go with her to the palace as she has to work there and no one is home to stay with her. Dad is in palace working and her siblings are in school. So Nima gets to leave the house for the first time and she's happy to see people and things around. The people look peaceful, making her doubt if they are punishing other creatures as God told her. At the palace, Mom asks her, "Will you be okay alone?" She says yes. Then she puts a protective spell on her. She asks her to stay there and wait for her. After a while, she becomes bored. She looks outside and sees a bird flying. Outside, she runs after the bird, saying, "Bird, wait for me." She becomes tired and stops. Then animals surround her. She's happy as one pet her cheek. Just then another white-eyed animals appear and the animals with her run away. She's amazed. When a white tiger appears, she stares at him and after, she shouts, "What a soft-looking animal. Can I pat you?" The animal bends to her and licks her cheek. She enjoys it and hugs him. She feels his softness and says, "This softness is rare." Just then white tiger stands and turns his back to her. She asks, "Can I ride on your back?" And he responds, "Yes." The white tiger rides her around the garden. Then she sees a guy on the tree. The guy says, "Get down, it's dangerous." He jumps down from the tree and the white tiger bends. When he carries her, she says, "Let me go." But he refuses. The white tiger uses his mouth to take her from him. She says thank you to him. The guy is surprised. White tiger helps her. He asks, "Where are your parents?" She replies, "Mom is working." He asks her name and she rudely replies, "I'm Nima from Asfa family." The guy then says, "Come with me," and she rides on White Tiger. She follows him to a room and he knocks on the door, and when he opens it, she's shocked to see her dad. The guy says she seems lost, so I brought her to you angrily. She says, "I'm not lost. I came here with Mom, and when I feel bored, White Tiger played with me." Dad hugs her saying, "Sorry, you feel bored," and then says to the guy, "Thank you, Prince, for bringing her to me." Nima is shocked, so he's the prince. Dad asks her to thank the prince, and she bows saying, "Thank you, Prince," but still angry. Seeing that, Prince walks up to her and pet her head. A man appears. She assumes he's king, so she politely greets him. He's impressed and says, "What a good girl." He moves close to her and asks if she likes White Tiger. She replies, "We are friends." He says he's king, and you can come visit the White Tiger again. When her mom returned, she's angry. She says, "Why do you ride on White Tiger?" She replies, "We are friends, and he protected me. I would like to see him again," the king says. "I can come." Mom then asks her to promise her she won't visit White Tiger if no one is watching, because he is a holy beast who has special spirit magic. The spirits use divine power, and he only listened to Prince since they are close. But Nima said, "White Tiger is my friend too, and I want to pet him again." Her mom says, "I know, but don't go to him if no one is watching." She replies, "Okay," and runs off to play with her dog. Mom says, "I can't believe she's friend with White Tiger." Dad answers, "She may have some special power that makes animals likes her." Up next, she's out again with her parents and amazed at the building. And so many people in her brother and sister's school, they come to watch their test presentation. And she wonders if there's any animal around. Then Mom says, "Don't get lost. Hold my hand." They are welcomed by the maid and offered a seat and some food. Nima is the first to sit, and she's amazed to see see the scene. Dad says the scene was created by teachers' magic, and students will be commanding soldiers to battle one another as test. Her brother is called out first to fight, and his opponent looks tough, making Nima worried if he will be okay. The two began to command the soldiers to battle. Ralph and his opponent look serious, but in the end, Ralph wins, and he's announced the winner. Nima and his parents are so happy, she runs to hug her brother. He says thank you. Just then, she says, I want to pee. After, she comes out of the restroom and returns to her brother, who is talking with his schoolmate. Ralph says, I have to go with my sister. His schoolmate says, let servants look after her, or will she be an excuse if I win you? That annoys Nima. She says, my brother won't lose. He replies, you are just a child. Nima feels he's rude to talk to her family like that. Then she replies, it's better to be a child than a dummy like you. And he wants to hit her. But Ralph tries to stop him. Just then, Prince appears, and they greet him. Then he asks him, do you want to hit a child? He denies, saying no, Prince says. But Nima is hiding. Ralph's surprised he knows her name. He reveals he helped her in the palace when she's lost. That annoys her, and she says, I'm not lost. Prince carries her and asks if she'll be his friend and she can come to palace anytime. Then she remembers White Tiger. Ralph's schoolmate says you can't allow a child in the palace. He replies, King likes her, so it's not a problem. Prince plays with her cheeks. Then Ralph says they need to go. Then he warns Ralph's schoolmate never try to hit her again. He's shocked and answers, I will be careful, and leaves. Prince asks Nima, you've got black eyes? She moves her face away, thinking people in their world don't have black eyes. She denies, saying no, they are blue. She thinks of changing the topic and says, call me Nima. He says, you can call me Will, but she can't pronounce it well. She says Will, and that makes them laugh. Nima's parents see the prince and bow to greet him. He says, stand up, I came to watch as a student of the academy. Meanwhile, Karna is about to start her test. Prince says her test is to use magic to defeat a monster summoned Wemption. By a magic circle, the test begins and she casts her magic. Surprisingly, a dragon appears, and that makes everyone there shocked. Nima asks if it is a monster. Prince says no, it's a fire dragon, a special creature like Lars. Prince asks her dad, can Karna use magic fire? Her dad says her fire magic is high, but water magic low. Prince says she's in danger, but Karna smiles, intending to fight him. Her mum too prepares to fight, seeing Karna might be hurt. Nima jumps down from Prince and climbs the fence, falling down. On the other side, however, something helps her and she manages to land on her feet. She runs to the scene shouting, stop. She moves close to the dragon and tries to protect him and saying, don't hurt him. Everyone is shocked to see a child there. Then the dragon says, why is a child here? She's amazed he can talk. Then she tells him he can't hurt anyone either. He replies, they forcibly summoned me here, yet they try to attack me, ignoring his words. She says, I wanted to pat you. Dragon asks if she doesn't fear him, and she says, no, I don't. He says, what a strange child, and bends down. Soldiers got scared, ready to attack him, but Prince stops them, and they watch as she happily pats him. Her family is amazed to see her pat the dragon now. She says, this feels nice. Everyone gathers. Watching Nima pats the dragon, Prince says he can't believe a kid pats dragon, and he didn't harm her. After, Dragon tells her she can call him when need comes. He gets ready to fly, but she says don't go. So he gives her an item she can use to call him. The item falls into her hand, and it looks strange. He tells her to keep it with her all time, and if she wants, can change it. She thinks of what to change it into to carry it around. Light shines, and the item suddenly turns into a baby doll she thought of, and she's amazed. Dragon tells her the item connects them mentally, so she can use his magic through it to protect herself. She thanks him and asks his name. He replies, Soul. She says, I'm Nima. Nice to meet you. Dragon flies away, and she waves at him. Her family worried, especially her sister. She asks if she's okay, and she says, I'm fine. She hugs her so tightly and cries. Prince also plays with her cheeks, saying, I'm glad you're safe. He turns to her dad and asks him to find out why the dragon appears. Moment later, at palace, Nima and her parents walk towards the throne room where the king is. They bow to greet King. When Nima raises her head, she's shocked to see so many important people standing in the room. The king then says, I heard Nima can use dragon power now. Is it true? That got her nervous. Then her dad replies, the dragon only promises to help her anytime she wants. The king asks, won't she use that to trouble our kingdom? He bows and swears she won't. She's afraid because dad will die if he breaks the vow. The research director appears and explains that spell was used in the school for tests to summon ordinary monster, and not to summon fire dragon, it just appears. The king asks, how does it appears then? He replies, it's the will of God. Nima is shocked to hear him says God. The king asks the high priest, and he also says, truly it's God's will. The dragons appears because God expects the king to make his people great. Nima now remembers God's word about priests lying to people by God's words. However, she says, I won't judge them them now, as she wants to enjoy patting animals around for a while. She is nervous seeing that Prince had been looking her. Then he asks her, "Will you play with Lars?" The king also says, "Go and play." She is so happy. Then Prince tells Lars to play with her, and he agrees. She excitedly holds his tail as they move. Nima is happy to be with Lars, and she feeds him his food with bare hands. Then her parents and other people gather. Lars smiles at her. People are surprised that she fed Lars with her hand. The maid gave her napkin to clean her hand. She says thanks, and that makes her blushes. As the maid leaves, Nima says it's time to feel Lars' softness. He pats her cheeks, making her rest on him, and she sleeps off. While everyone watches, her dad says, "Oh, she's so cute when she sleeps." Others are surprised, saying she's not an ordinary girl. She should just be close friends with Fire Dragon so she can bring his blessings to us. Also, priests plan to keep her not knowing dad overhears. Minister of Affairs, Olivia appears and asks Osfe is she okay? She wonders why Lars likes her. Just then, Chief Priest also walks in, saying, "Let church help you look after her. We train girls like her God's words." His father says, "No, I don't want that for Nima," knowing that they teach the girls lies about God's words. He promises to take care of her. Then dad explains, "I can't give her to you because she's still a child who knows nothing." The priest feels like he is insulting him. Then he asks, "Is she really your daughter?" Osfa's surprised, saying, "What do you mean?" He says she doesn't look like her brother and sister. Her mom disagrees, saying, "We swear in God's name when she's born and will be punished if we lie." He replies, "It might be only dad who swears because he loves you." She replies, "The king was there. Are you doubting the king?" He's shocked and keep quiet. Others then support him, saying, "Let priest take Nima to church," but king and his wife say no. Next, still at palace, Lars licks Nima's cheeks to wake her up. Dad tells her the meeting is over and all went well. She's excited, asking, "Is everything okay now?" Her mom says, "Yes, your power is God's will." King walks in, carries her, and says, "You can come here anytime." She's happy about it. Prince tells her there are many animals she will like in the palace, so he takes her with him, and that makes her nervous. A royal guard appears and bows, introducing himself as Gwyn. She's amazed. What a pretty boy. She says name, and also that she saw Gwyn with the king before, which surprises him. Prince says to him, "Take her to Dragon Stable." Gwyn is shocked and wonders why he has to take her there, but she's happy. As they move, he wonders, "Why must I do this?" Meanwhile, Nima could hear him, but doesn't care. She can't wait to touch the dragons and wishes Gwyn will just cooperate with her. They meet a guy who says to her, "The prince tells me about you." He bends to her and she feels he's a kind man, so she introduces herself. Impressed, he pats her head, saying, "I am Dan, the captain of the Dragon Guard." Gwyn asks, "Why didn't you dress well as a royal guard?" The two argue about it, which shocks Nima. The guards say they have always fight like that since they were young. However, Dan says he doesn't need to dress like a guard while with dragons, but Gwyn says, "No, you're smelling." Wanting to fight, she stops them. Dan leads her to the dragon stable, warning her not to touch them. Some dragons are flying, some running, and others drinking water. She amazed to see them. The dragon flying are called lindbooms, and the ones with no wings are lindrakes. And here is grassland. She says, "Wow, this place so big." She asks him, "Don't they run away?" And he says, "No, they have real names, we call them." She says they are so cute, and Dan smiles. She wishes she can touch the dragons, but Dan will say no. Suddenly, her baby doll shows light. Dragons then begin to run, which makes everyone shocked. They come at her, and Dan wants to run with her. One dragon stops them, smiling at her. She moves closer to it, saying, "Your name is Gazelle." Guards were shocked as she talks to him. She turns to them, saying, "I can talk to him because I have Soul's item." She asks Dan, "Can I play with him?" and he says, "Sure." So she jumps on Gazelle's back and he flies her up. Dan and Gwyn are amazed as they watch her go. She shouts, "See you later." Nima's super excited. Gazelle then says, "I can feel the presence of Fire Dragon in you." She says, "Yes, it's because I have his item." Gazelle says, "For that other dragons will also like you." Soon they arrived at a garden with beautiful flowers, and she fed him with some. She begins to play with the dragons. They also say, "Let's play with her." One carries her on his back in water. She says, "This feels so nice." She throws water at a dragon, and the dragon did the same. Then they begin playing with the water. Dan is still surprised that Gazelle let her ride on his back because he never allows anyone, not even him, that's so close to them. Gwyn asks, "Do you know Fire Dragon appears?" Dan says, "Yes, I saw him flying back the day he appears." He says the item with Nima is a magic item created only by powerful dragons, so she can talk with it. Gwyn says having the rare item makes her the Fire Dragon's master. Two are confused, but she's just a child. Just then, she shouts, "I'm back." They were shocked to see Lars carry her on his back, and all dragons follow her. Dan is amazed, saying, "Who's this girl?" She says excitedly, "I have so much fun touching the dragons." Next day, Dan walks with Nima to the stable to see more animals. The stable captain who will take them around there appears, and they meet him. He introduces himself to her, saying, "I am the Captain Les," and bows. She feels he's a nice person and also tells him her name. Les wonders if she's the special girl Dan tells him about because she looks ordinary to him. While Nima asks Dan to leave his hand, she can walk herself. Dan told Les before that the dragon leader let Nima ride on his back, and he's never allowed him do that, so he's jealous because he feels he's closer to the dragons. Meanwhile, she's not happy Dan is stopping her from moving around. At the stable, she's amazed seeing it so big. She also admires horses around. Les says they will ride on the horses to go round the stable. She's happy. The horse looks sad, not minding her as she tells him her name. He makes a rude sound at her, which surprises her and Dan, yet she jumps at him saying, "Let's play." The horse refuses to play with her. Then she wonders what's wrong with him. Les says sorry he doesn't like to play, and he makes a rude sound again. Just then, she understands what's wrong with him, so she walks up to him, pats him gently, and says the horse likes to play. But he doesn't like anyone he doesn't know to get close to him. Now Les realizes what's wrong with him. Dan is surprised that a horse can behave like that. Les moves close and pats him, saying, "Sorry, I didn't know you're protecting yourself." Then Dan and Nima sit on a white horse named Hugh. The horses move them around the stable. Nima enjoys seeing the animals as they eat. She sees a giant boar digs the ground to find what to eat, just as in some baby giant boars see them and charge at them. Les says the baby boars like to play, but they can still hurt her. She becomes afraid, so they begin to move fast, and the boars run after them. Suddenly, the animal leader stops, makes a sound at them to go back, and they went back. Nima says thank him for saving them, and he smiles. Later, Les shows them wakas, saying they are the fastest animal on land. She is amazed and shouts, "I want to ride on one." Les says no, they can move too fast, so you need training to ride on it. She disagrees, shouting again, "I want to ride on wakas." Then, Les puts her on a wakas and ties a rope together with him so she can be safe. He also teaches her how to hold it so she won't stop while they move. She's so excited and says, "Wakas, move as fast as you can," not listening to Les telling her they can really be fast. He wonders why she's not scared at all. The wakas begins to run very fast and she becomes afraid, thinking she might get hurt. Seeing that, Les stops the wind with magic. She's surprised when the wind stops, while Les says sorry. "I forgot to use magic to stop the wind before we move." She wonders if that's true. He makes the wakas runs faster, making Nima more afraid. When they got down, she could hardly walk or open her eyes. She cries, regretting riding on the wakas. Dan laughs at her, which makes her angry. At the same time, they see a bird flying and Les whistles at it. The bird rests on his hand. Nima is amazed. The bird is a glayhawk, which can be used to send letters. She wishes she had one too. He replies, "Yes, you can come again." At first, she feels disappointed, but then she tells Dan, "Let's go see the dragon leader." Soon, Les meets his subordinates. They report to him that one rare animal had escaped from the stable, but they are trying to look for him. He says, "Go and get ready. We will find it together." So they leave. He remembers all that happened that day, from animal escaping to the animal stable leader liking Nima, and the wakas easily agrees to his orders because of her. Though jealous, he says, "I have to find the animal that escaped first." Just then, Nima appears sitting on the lost animal with Lars beside her. She tells Les that she found him on her way. When she was going back from the dragon's stable with Lars, Les then realizes Nima is truly a special girl, like Dan told him. He tells her to tell him first if she finds any lost animal again. She happily says okay and hugs the animal, making Les more jealous, and wishes he could also have such power to be loved by animals like Nima. Up next at Nima House, it's her birthday, so her parents ask her to say a wish. She says, "I want to go to the city." Her dad's shocked, saying no, it's not safe. His wife says she will be safe if someone goes with her. Nima says, "Let me go with my sister," yet he says no. Then his wife asks her male servant to go with them. Then Dad agrees they will be safe with him. In the city, they head to the market to buy things. Nima's so happy being her first time coming to the city. She admires people and things around. The city looks so beautiful. Her sister is also happy to go to the city with her. She runs, saying, "Let's go buy things," and they follow her. She gives her some coins and tells her things she can buy with it. She then heads to the turkey shop herself. She rides back to where her sister and servant are and gives one turkey to each of them. She also gives one to Dee as her birthday treat, and the male servant offers to help him remove the bones. Just then, she smells something nice. It's snacks. The male servant tells her it's called Pepe. She quickly runs off to get 3. The seller says, "What a cute girl. If you buy 20, you get 3 for free." She says, "Please make it 4 so I can give Dee 2. She agrees, saying 24 is for 1 coin. She buys it and returns to her sister. Karna says this is too much, but she says, "I got some for Dad and Mum." Impressed, she hugs her tightly, saying, "You're such a sweet girl." She feels uncomfortable, so male servant says, "Be careful," and she tells her sorry. Later, they stop by at a cafe her sister visits anytime she comes to the city. Some girls having drinks there call her name, and she greets them. She tells them she came with her sister to to buy things in the city. One of them says, I heard about her. She doesn't look like her parents, and she has black eyes. That makes Nima feel bad, but her sister replies, you are fools not to see how wonderful my sister is. Then she says she cannot be friends with people who insult her sister, and so leaves with Nima. She feels happy her sister defends her. At home, Karna asks her if she's tired, but she says she's fine, still feeling happy about what happened at the cafe. She opens her room, only to see her dad and brother shout, happy birthday, Nima. They plan a surprise party for her. The royal family are also there. She's shocked because she wasn't expecting it. The king comments that the plan went well, as she clearly seems surprised. She's so touched and cries. The king says, oh, we made the little princess cry. The prince moves close, saying, you are ugly when you cry. She says, shut up, and he smiles. His dad says, everyone let's eat, so the party continues. The queen gives her a gift, and she opens. In it is a necklace with magic stones. She's surprised to see the gifts. All the people she's met in the palace give her gifts like clothes, shoe, hat. Dan also got her a hair clip from the dragon's scales. He says it's from the neck scale where the dragons hated being touched, but they let him because of her. She's amazed, saying, I'll pat their head when we see. Les gives her a rainhawk bird, the strongest and cleverest bird. He puts it on her shoulder, and she admires it, saying it's so fluffy. He reminds her how she admires the Glayhawk that day, but it's too big for her, so she can keep the rainhawk instead. She receives more gifts, like writing materials so she won't forget to study. She's amazed, saying this is the best birthday ever. At night, she reflects on how her day went. The rainhawk rests on her shoulder. Then she realizes she hasn't named her, so she names her Nox, saying, let's be great friends. Next morning, Nox is flying in the sky. As Nima calls her name, she comes and rests on her hand, which impresses Dan and Les. Les suggests she train her again the next day. Sadly, she has to start studying and will not have time. At home, the next day, Nima had started reading when Marjace brought in her teacher, saying, you'll start lessons with her today. She enters and introduces herself. I am Anna. She admires her makeup, clothes, and hair, saying what a picture-perfect lady. She's happy. Such a lady will be her teacher, while Marjace leaves to go get some tea ready. After Anna tells her she will first teach her manners because Marjace told her she calls her parents' names without respect, which is wrong. She just nods silently without upping a proper response. Then she hits her. She looks at her angrily for hitting her, ignoring her expression. Anna tells her she has to be more respectful as a noble lady. Marjace enters and assumes they are getting along. Meanwhile, Nima disliked her already, but she couldn't say it to her face. She hits her anytime she teaches her, and she makes her cry like a baby. Anyways, Anna's relieved that she's improving. She taught her brother and sister, and now they are doing well. She says, I will also teach you to become like them. At night, she feels really weak and wonders if Anna beat her brother and sister like that when she was teaching them. She thought of telling her dad about it, but she knows he might fight Anna and stop her from teaching her. Then she tells Nox, I will find a way to stop her from hitting me myself. The next morning in her house, Anna scolds her again, but she just smiles and says thanks for teaching me. At first, she's surprised at her behavior, but replies, good, you understand. Meanwhile, she faked her smile just to avoid being hit again. And that day, she teaches her without hitting her. At night, while at home, after eating, Nima leaves without cleaning her plate, which is unlike her, so everyone is worried. Her mom follows her and asks if she's ill so she can call a doctor, but she says she's fine. When her mom insists on calling a doctor, she runs, saying nothing's wrong with me. Unexpectedly, Ralph catches her making her angry and asks him to let her go. He smiles, saying, think of what you will tell mom instead. Unknown to her, her mom is in front of her, making her shocked. Mom reveals she knows about Anna hitting her and asks why she didn't want to tell her. She says you needs to get along with Anna, even though she's hard to impress, but you can challenge her if you come to know her well. She listens as she advises, learning from Anna is the best way to impress her. She asks, can I really get along with her? Mom winks and says yes. Ralph says, I will help you. He holds her hand and warms her up with magic, making her feel warm and lighter. He says he will heal her again if she feels weak, but will not interfere in her matter with Anna so she can learn to grow into a noble lady. She blushes. Mom says we won't tell Dad, so go challenge Anna. She smiles and says yes. At the same house 1 year later, she's learned so much, which surprises her dad. He says, I can't believe how much you've learned in just a year. She replies, thanks to Madame Anna. Though Nima admires her again now, she just feels something isn't right with her, and she wonders why. Then, she remembers her mom's once said to know her well. She decides to ask Paul more about her. Paul gives her a book, saying he finds out some of her relatives are from the church, which reminds her of the priest she saw in the palace who lies about God's words. She assumes that's why she isn't feeling right with her. Next day at her house, as Anna's teaching her, she asks her of the next city suffering drought. Anna tells her the drought leads to lack of food, so they ask the king and church to help. In the end, the king and other 2 countries helped. She asks why the church didn't help, and she replies that they believe the city angered God. So if they help, it will be against God's will. She She asks if she's sure the drought is from God. She replies that God shows their priest that they angered him. She asks again why God will kill the people he created with drought and dried. She answers they keep beast people in their city and so might be doing bad things secretly. She listens as she asks if she's met anyone from the city. She says no, they can be scary. Now, she realizes Anna is not sure about this. She just believes what the priest says. Angry, she calls her rude for believing the city angered God. She feels insulted and very annoyed, lifting her cane and then hits her, leaving a mark on her left cheek. Nima, who's always feels this is not right, challenge her. She raises voice, saying, I don't want to be a person like you who talks bad about people you haven't met. Anna seems confused. Ashamed, she says, let's not talk about this again. After all, we are ladies. She replies, I don't want to talk about fashion and shopping like other ladies. Men talk about things like this. Do you want me to stay silent among them like a doll? Anna says you can just nod when they talk. She disagrees, saying it's rude not to give proper response. She asks, how do ladies talk among men? Now she's too confused to think, so she runs out. Nima lays her head on the table smiling. She feels she has challenged her, and now she will not hit her again. She walks to the window and calls Knox, feeling good as she pats her. Afterwards, her dad is so angry when he sees the mark on her cheeks, but Nima tells him she's fine. Still, he warns Anna not to hit her again. She apologizes and says, let me continue teaching her. She teaches her other things like music and sewing. Nima enjoys the lessons and also has time to visit the horse stable, and the animal leader let her play him and allow her ride on him with Les. Up next, at her house, Dad tells Nima he will follow him on a journey to see the northern land which his family is in charge of now that she's 5. He tells her she will see and learn new things, so she's happy and says, I will like to go. Soon, in the palace, they stand in a room where they will use transportation magic to travel. While they stand on the magic device, her dad says we're ready, so the device is activated, showing light. He shouts Arsenta and the light stops. Nima is surprised because it seems nothing has changed around them. Just then, 3 men appear saying welcome. The old man says, I am Warnus, the proxy lord here. They move close to them and she introduces herself. Impressed, he says welcome to Arsenta. They lead them to the door and she rushes to open it. She watches horses and snow falling and says, wow. She walks out and snow covers her. Her dad carries her and uses magic to warm her up. He tells her she needs to dress properly to prevent colds. Then she wears socks and a coat, feeling so warm. Dad says now we can continue the journey by carriage. As they move, she's so excited. Later, she dreams playing with fluffy animals with her dad as she sleeps. They move into the city. When she wakes, Dad tells her about the city, saying even though the cold is much, crops survive, and each region also finds a way to adapt to the cold. Meanwhile, she wishes the city would have yummy things and rare animals. They arrived at a mayor's house in the city. Dad appreciates them, saying thanks for accepting us to your home. Around there is no cold, and she wonders why. She enjoys the food that was served to them, saying it's delicious. The chef is glad she likes it, serving her more. Then her dad reveals they're going to the forest tomorrow, and she will go with them. He says the people tell him monsters are in the forest, and he wants to go and see himself. He asks her to call Dragon Soul. She's surprised and asks, what will I tell him? Dad says Saul knows a lot about monsters and might be a guide to them. She happily replies, I will ask him. Then she calls Saul. He replies, and that makes her excited. She explains, I travel here with my dad where monsters are killing people. Do you know? He asks, where? Dad says the Needle Frost Forest. Saul asks what type of monsters mount, and he mentions goblins, kobolds, and sometimes frost spiders. She reports what Saul tells her to Dad, that monsters are not meant to be there. Dad is curious and then gathers the knights of the city. They ask themselves why monsters will appear in the city. Dad is surprised when Nima says it might be God's doing. She thinks God wants her to do something about it, but can't tell her dad. He agrees and says, I think the story ends, and if you want a second season, aim for 2 million likes or 2,000 comments about your favorite animals and share this